Hello, this is Andrew Doherty with Tides and Tales Maritime Community Project, and today I just wanted to take you through our recent website launch, which was held in Central Library in Waterford. And it was a small affair. We didn't have a budget. We don't have any money, so you got to cut your cloth to suit your measure. So unfortunately, this is the best way that I could think of in terms of making sure people were generally aware of what we have done and where we're going. So the first part of the launch was taken over by Breda Murphy, who's chair of the Tides and Tales Maritime Community Project, and Breda introduced the project and went through what we've been working on, and I suppose generally set the context for the day and what we were hoping to achieve from the day. She then asked me to give some stats on the blog, and I just basically went through some of the specifics in terms of the blog and the blog reach. So the blog is, or the website is tidesandtales.ie, www.tidesandtales.ie, and we've been working since 2014 on it, and there's almost 500 stories up there at this point in time. There was 29 published last year, and some of those were very large research pieces, and others were much shorter, and they were basically updates on the project or whatever. But there's a huge body of work after been put online, all about the maritime history of Waterford. From April to December, I've only started using Google Analytics 4 since April. We had 38,000 people view different stories on the site. And what's wonderful when you're looking back on that kind of stuff is just to look at what people are looking at and what they're reading. You never really know what the purpose of it is, but they go all the way back to the very start of the project. So it could be the most recent or the oldest story that's there, but they all seem to get a general viewing when you're looking at those stats in terms of what's getting looked at. I logged 193 inquiries to the page during the year. There was 147 different individual people who contacted, and those queries involved stuff like the media, TV, radio, newspapers, requests for family research, and a wide range of other pieces. So there's a lot going on with the site, and it's generating a lot of interest, which is heartening to see. The next part of the morning's programme was taken over by Bernadette Guest, who is the Heritage Officer with Waterford City and County Council. And Bernadette basically gave an insight into the work that she does, gave an insight into where the maritime history part fits in with that, but also how important it was to preserve and maintain the information that's been captured by Tides and Tales to hold on to it into the future. Bernadette was one of 3 letters of support that we got for the funding application, which we made to the Heritage Council of Ireland, which provided the funding for the new website. Bernadette, the Port of Waterford, and Fade Lake House Hotel, all of which contributed to making the application much easier and much more successful, I guess. So then Bernadette launched the site, and I went through the new layout and just how navigable it has been made. So the older site was much clunkier and it wasn't as easy to navigate. And this site has a couple of different features on it which are new, but it's also just the layout of it, and how to find it is much newer. So we have a contact page. Within that is held a link section. People can donate to the project if they feel minded to. and there's a research element that we're still working on, and there's a shop which is basically, at this point in time, it has my present book, Waterford Harbour Tides and Tales, and it has a couple of ebooks, my first book before the tide went out, and an older copy of the Prawn booklet, which I researched with the Cheap Point Fishing Heritage Project in 2005. And that's something that we want to develop further. And then River and Coast, I go into that in the next one, events which showcases all the different things that we get up to. And that's going the whole way back, our blog. And of course, this is the homepage, and it's a picture I took in December of 2023. And what I love about it is, well, it's my favourite place, Moran's Falls. It's got the old traditional fishing punt in the foreground, the mule, and you have a bulk carrier coming into the port of Waterford. And it's old and new, it's Waterford and Wexford, but it's also the sunrise, it's the hope of a new day. And for Tides and Tales, I suppose that's what that's one of the values of the project, really. It's the positive, it's the looking forward, and it's trying to create some kind of positive change in the community and the river communities, not just in Waterford, but along the Three Sister network, and hopefully beyond in the future as well. Back to River and Coast. So just when you go into this and you hit it, you come into the A to Z place names of the Three Sisters, which has been a long-term project of capturing as many of the place names along the Three Sisters that we can. And then within that, there's another piece which is really the Pills and the Pill place name, which for me seems to go back to a Norman origin. It really locates Waterford and the southwest of England, the Severn Estuary and parts of Wales, connects them all together, which historically would be very accurate. So it's a collection of different stories. One of the most recent is John's Pill in Waterford, which I did with Bernadette Guest, with the support of Bernadette Guest in Waterford Council. And the most recent one that's going to be, the next one that's going to be published will be about the Blackwater River in South Kilkenny, which has been supported by Regina Fitzpatrick, who's the Heritage Officer with Kilkenny County Council. And it's an amazing story, and I can't wait to showcase it on the blog. And it'll also be available through the Heritage website in Kilkenny. Now, my early Christmas present really with the blog was this section here. So this is when you go into the blog now, you have the stories laid across 3 in a row, and you can scroll down the page, and it's much more easy to see A, the story, but B, what the story is about. And you can, for general readers, they might come in on the page and they might say, oh, well, that's interesting, or this is all irrelevant to me, or whatever. But hopefully within that there's something there for general readers who come in onto the site. But the big thing that I love about it also is that you've got different categories within the story. So each story is categorized. And so here's St. Eat as well in Faith Lake. That's the most recent story to go up on the blog. And within this, there's categorizations like Cheek Point Memories. Jesus, even though I'm wearing the glasses, I still can't see the damn thing. Cheek Point Memories, Irish Folk Stories, and Waterford History. So you can click into one of those categories and you'll get more stories related to that. I'll show you that in the next slide. But if you click into St. Eat as well, or click into any one of the stories, it opens up the story, so the normal run-of-the-mill in terms of what you can see. But it's down the right-hand side of the page. This is looking on the desktop view, obviously. But down the right-hand side of the page, you've got a full list of all the different categorizations. It's alphabeticalized. So, for example, if you were interested in Dunmore East, you'd get 29 stories that have a Dunmorries connection, or that it's relevant to an interest in Dunmorries, and alphabetized all the way down: 53 on fishing heritage, 18 on folklore, 71 on Ireland's maritime heritage, which I suppose really lends itself to the ultimate, agenda, or the purpose of the site, which is around capturing the maritime history of the Waterford area, the Waterford Harbour area, and the Three Sister Rivers. But of course, it's gone and spread so much further at this point in time. Anyway, that's my favourite part. That's taken a huge amount of work on my part to recategorise all the stories and to try and enhance that and make it more accessible and make it easier for people to view. And I think it's one of the things I'm most satisfied about and most proud about with the new site. Because it's one thing to write stories, it's another thing for people to be able to find them, and then for them to be interested enough to read them. So it's about making that easier and making it more accessible. And I think that's what this site does, but it's also what all that work that I've done all through Christmas and into January hopefully will have achieved as well. So just to conclude, Breda took this part of the session, Breda Murphy, who's the chair of the Tides and Tales Maritime Community Project, and just to talk about our plans for the year ahead. So we have an action plan for 2025. And one of the key points of that is that we're putting a funding application into the local authority's water programme to try and fund a strategic plan which will mark the way forward for the project for the next 5 years. So if that comes to fruition, really looking forward to talking to other people and getting other people's views in on where we could go and what we could do. So that is for the future, but it is the plan to develop the work and to see it go forward. But at least now with a new website and with that, the security of knowing that the stories that are there, that they're retained, that they're safe, they're accessible, and people will be able to go into them at any point in time. That's really satisfying. It's really reassuring to me after I started in 2014. So it's 10 years work. It'll be 11 years in May of this year. So it's a big investment, and it's nice to know that it's there now for the future. And that means a lot, for me anyway. So anyway, Andrew Doherty, Tides and Tales, so the site, the website, www.tides, TIDESANDTALES, tidesandtales.ie. And if you want to go on there and have a look around, and if you want to subscribe to the blog, you'll get each monthly story into your inbox. The other stuff will be available as it goes up there. Okay, thank you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.